Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another episode of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys joining us for today's video. And guys, we are going to be talking about the big hoo-ha that's been going on the last couple weeks now about the largest lake in Pennsylvania, Raystown Lake. The Army Corps of Engineers has requested that there be a limit on the amount of tournaments, and basically saying you can't have tournaments during certain times of the day from Labor Day to Memorial Day. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to sort of give you guys my opinion of that and sort of fill you in on what the deal is with that and if there needs to be any concern amongst the bass fishing community. Also, guys, big thanks out there. Everybody's been subscribing to the channel here this past week, using all the links in the description. Really wanted to give you guys a big thanks every day for doing that. It's much appreciated. Okay, guys, if you haven't seen the news here, I guess it was about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, the Army Corps of Engineers on Raystown Lake in Pennsylvania, which is the largest lake in the state that hosts quite a few tournaments every year, they requested the tournament directors not hold any bass tournaments between, I think it's 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays between Labor Day and Memorial Day. And as a safety precaution, this is the peak use time for that particular lake, and I guess they feel that the excess boat traffic, excess traffic on the ramps is going to be a safety concern, so they want to put those limitations in place. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have tournaments during the rest of the week, or it doesn't mean you can't have tournaments during different hours, but they just want to put that rule in effect that they don't want any tournaments between Labor Day, Memorial Day, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I've been getting a ton of messages from you guys out there. I've probably gotten this article forwarded to me 50 times, wanting to know my opinion on it. So I'm going to sort of give it to you guys right now. First of all, I think that a lot of what you see when something like this comes on is you see some, I don't want to call it fake outrage, but I think it's sort of misplaced outrage, because one thing I found out about fishermen and hunters is anytime something like this comes up, they see it as some attack on their rights as an anglers out there. So I sort of want, and I understand that, but I sort of want to give a different perspective from a realistic point of view based upon our changing world out there. Now, here's the situation, guys. The fishing, every single year, our lakes get more crowded and crowded and crowded. I've talked about this a lot, about how Table Rock Lake is just a freaking zoo anymore, and it's overdeveloped out there. So we are having a changing environment every single year in terms of our lake and the usages that we have on there. So as the lakes get more and more and more crowded, and there's more pressure on the lake, sometimes you're going to have to do stuff like this out of safety concerns, if nothing else out there. Now, I think a lot of people see this as some type of slippery slope that they're going to ban tournaments and all this. That's not what's happening, guys. Don't get sucked down that rabbit hole thinking that's what the deal is, because it's not. This is just an effort to try to increase safety measures out there. And I've always been, one of the things I've been adamant about is I don't think there needs to be tournaments on top of the prime spawning seasons. I don't think there needs to be tournaments during, the early summer when there's a lot of stressed out bass from the post spawn. I think it is a smart conservation move, a very smart conservation move to work with the game agencies, work with the lake managers to basically ensure that we have sustainability of our fisheries running for the long term. And if that means laying off these lakes at the times that it can potentially damage the future of our fisheries, I don't see anything wrong with that out there. Now, in this particular case here, yeah, a case can be made. It's like, okay, why are the recreational anglers getting priority over the tournament anglers? I understand that point there. But again, tournament organizers still have the right to hold their tournaments, any other time during the weekend, other than 8 to 4, which during Memorial Day to Labor Day, that's the middle of the summer. That's when you don't want to have tournaments, because there's a lot of, fish die during the summertime. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't see it as a slippery slope. I don't see it as anything that we have to be concerned about with this. I think a lot of it is a lot of people are reading a little bit too much into it in those terms. So I think you're going to see stuff like this more and more moving in the future, simply because there's just so many people using our lakes anymore, guys. It's just, all you guys out there that are my age, you remember it. If you're not, let me refresh you a little bit. If you were on the water 40 years ago, guys, there wasn't hardly anyone out there. It's like, yeah, during 4th of July or something like that, there may be more boats on the lake than normal, but most of the time there wasn't hardly any recreational traffic during the summertime. There were a few water skiers out there. There wasn't that many bass fishermen, because most of the people back then, they thought bass fishing was the best in the spring. So the lakes didn't get hardly any pressure from, the summertime, fall time, and winter time. It was just in the spring, and the usages were just down. But I go back to Table Rock Lake a lot, using an example with this, guys. Table Rock Lake is unrecognizable in 2024 based, compared to what it was in 1980, as far as the amount of people using that lake. And it's only going to increase as long as you have these developers that are ripping off hillsides and trying to, build as many houses as they can on the lake. It's going to bring more and more people to the lake. It's going to be more and more people are going to be out there in those damn whatever they call those boats that make the huge wakes, all those freaking, obnoxious jet skis, all those big honking 40-foot cruisers like you see up at Lake of the Ozarks. The more developers do that to our lakes, the more we're going to have this problem. And the more tournaments that we have, this is going to be another issue with that. So I think one of the things that we have to do is we have to look at this with a cool, calm, collected head, and make the right decisions, and sometimes make some difficult decisions out there. That's why I've always said is that there's too many tournament permits issued on our lakes. The tournament organizers need to work in correlation with the Corps of Engineers and the lake managers to spread these tournaments out throughout the course of the year, where they're not all piled up on top of each other. So my point of view on this particular thing here is I don't think there's anything wrong out there with trying to do the right thing in terms of safety and conservation efforts out there. Don't get your feelings hurt on, or don't make it into something that's not, like you're thinking you're getting your rights taken away from you, like they're coming after your guns or something. That's not what this is at all out there. I think that if every single angler out there is concerned about safety issues, if we're concerned about the sustainability of our future, our sport for the future and future generations, and we don't want to do anything about how many people are increasingly using the water that we have, you're going to see more stuff like this come up there a lot, because conservation departments and the lake managers and the Corps of Engineers, tournaments are not their priority. Their priority on these lakes is power generation, and it's a multi-use type of a deal. So when they see one entity or one segment, either putting a strain on the fisheries or the usage or creating safety issues, they're going to get involved with it. And that's sort of what we've had here. But again, I think a lot of people are sort of getting bent out of shape, unnecessarily. This is not a ban on tournaments. Don't make it sound like it's a tournament ban. You can still have tournaments anytime you want to during the week, Monday through Friday. You can still have tournaments on the weekend. You just can't have them between 8 to 4 between Memorial Day and Labor Day. That's all there is to it. It's not that big of a deal there. So I think we all just need to take a deep breath with that and sort of look at the bigger picture, because one of the things that I've noticed about a lot of bass fishermen is they get so tunnel visioned on it's just what's here for me and now, what's here for me. How's this going to affect me? How's this going to affect my fishing? We have got to start looking down the road, guys, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now at the generations of people that are going to inherit these lakes after we're gone here. And we have got to start making steps to ensure sustainability for those generations down the road. If we don't, we're going to look like the biggest villains ever existed to these people that don't have the opportunities we had, today to fish. So that's just my 2 cents on it, guys. Let me know what you all think. I'd be curious to hear, and we'll talk later. See you.